Okay, I kind of talked about this before you got in here, but Big Dom, the Eagles security guard, we got
Yeah,
an
I heard about
update on that. He's not going to be on the sidelines for Dallas Philly,
right.
and he's still going to do all of his regular duties. He's going, to Dallas for the trip, and now we're updating the traveling status of security guards, but. He won't be on the sideline, and the NFL is doing a deeper dive and a deeper investigation in into what happened and the whole that little fracas or whatever you want to describe it as between him and Greenlaw on
Hmm.
the field. I guess the question I would have for you to try to advance this a little bit. What do you think, Coach? I mean, we all know that Dre shouldn't have put his hands on the security guard. The security guard definitely shouldn't have been on the field. The
Hmm.
security we could lecture the guy forever, but we all know. I mean, the security guard cannot be touching the players. That's just period. We all know
Period.
that.
Period.
But what do you think, Coach? What in a world where we're not mad at Dom. I'll take it at face value the people that say, "Hey, man, he's a good dude." He looks like a good dude. Whatever.
Right.
They like him. I'll take their word for it. He's a good dude.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Does a lot of good stuff for Philly. So let's not pretend the
Hmm.
guy's evil. He's not. But what's appropriate punishment, do you think, from Goodell, from the league? What's an appropriate way to go forward involving Big Dom so that it doesn't happen again? They send a message, but they don't, destroy this guy.
Well, that's the thing about security is that there is no emotion in security. You're supposed to be an inanimate object, honestly. Almost as if you're a guardrail, just a human form of it. For me, you don't want anybody to lose their job. But that's the recourse in security, though, right? High, um, when you have high liability jobs where there's a lot at stake, the threshold for keeping or losing your job can be very staunch, right?
Right.
There's no wiggle room, right? So I could see if Big Dom was a secretary and he accidentally sent out like the wrong email, depending on what's in the email, that could be rectified, right? But if you're a truck driver, there's some certain things that you do as a semi truck driver that, if you're driving way too many hours, you're automatically fired. And it's not the fact that you didn't fall asleep this time. It's not the fact that you got caught driving past your hours. Dude, you're fired because you're a liability driving down the road with a multi-1,000-pound weighted weapon on wheels. Okay. And you can't be trusted with this. And it's not about what we think you're going to do down the road, but it's the fact that you did it now. And you couldn't have done it. And you shouldn't have done it. So it's not, I just want people to understand that the world of security is very unforgiving in that aspect. Guys losing their job in security is almost kind of like we're private contractors, essentially. So losing your job is almost in the same ilk as a coach losing his job. Everybody knows that you may like a coach, but there are certain areas of his job that either keep him in the building or it's like, God, we like this guy, but he's got to go. Right.
Not to interrupt, but are there different labels for this? Like you do a certain kind of security. He's been listed as security, and a lot of people like myself are going, "Hey, man, if you're security, you would be wearing a yellow coat facing the stands." But
he's not that security. No,
he's a bodyguard, is what he is. He's not really a security guy because
he's personal protection.
Isn't he responsible for like the getting on and off the field for Sirianni? So he's not really security. He's more like a bodyguard.
They make it more inconspicuous now the way they used to do it. The way they used to do it is they would just utilize local law enforcement from the area to handle those type of duties.
That's what they do in college. You'll see a couple. Alabama trots off the field. Nick Saban's got a couple
some troopers.
Yeah, with the hats and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So my dad did 25 years Prince George's County Sheriff's Department, so he was very much involved in crowd suppression control for Wizards games or when they were the Bullets, working out over here at FedEx Field for Redskins games. So I've been very much a part of all of those outfits, working myself at FedEx Field at time, doing a lot of concierge and event security myself. And what it used to be was they would just utilize the local law enforcement that was in the area for them to do that. And it was a cool little part-time gig. Guys maybe get a couple of $100, a cool little sandwich and a picture. But now, and if you like the guy enough, it was kind of like your permanent outpost, right? So during the season, for 8 weeks, you got yourself a nice little job, right? walking the coach on, walking them off, being personal security to protect the coach so he can do his job and to protect the staff. The players are fine, okay? You're not there to protect the players. So when he stepped out of bounds for what he did, we talked about this before. It's not the fact that he tried to do his job. He just did it wrong. You know, he could have simply just been a presence and stood there. And if he really was worried about Dre Greenlaw and Devontae Smith getting into something that was outside of the realm of the game, he could have just been a presence and stood in between them. The moment he fucked up is, number one, where he stepped. He was off the field. So, number one, you're wrong. Okay. 2, why are you talking? Okay. We see the video running. What are you saying to him? What type of conversation do you need to have with somebody right now? You need to just be standing there and getting yelled at and waiting until the proper authorities come in there to get your big ass out of the way. And 3, initiating contact. People don't understand, like in certain security, man, like
you're not supposed to
you're not supposed to put your hand out.
Or in any way do anything to make the situation.
Yes,
you're a diffuser,
you're
right?
exacerbating the situation,
right?
By putting your own wishes in there for what you want to do. So, because of that, for me, he should be fired. I'm sorry. He
really?
Should. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I think
that seems harsh,
be,
man.
Because it's a liability issue. You know what? If depending on the conversation that we're having with him, what kind of disappointed me if this was my contract and Dom was my employee, right? Which I do have a security firm and I have people that work under me.
Mm-hmm.
But what frustrated me was the aftermath. It's not the fact that you got taken off the field, but what are you sitting there dapping everybody up, slapping hands, talking about we'll get them next time in the hallway after the game? Like, my man, you're still not doing your job. Right. You're still not doing your job.
But you wouldn't suspend. You'd fire, huh?
Yeah, I'd fire him. I wouldn't suspend him. And that's not me being a Niners fan. That's me doing payroll every week, paying grown men for over a dozen years. If he worked for a loyalty company, he'd be fired. I'm sorry.
What do you think he makes, if I could ask? I mean, what do you? I
know it's probably a one-off. It's probably a one-off. So it's probably in that 8-game range. He probably may hit 6 figures, or maybe like around there 70. So
70 to be on the sideline.
Yeah, it's a sweet gig. 8 games, you're there. You're and that's the thing. One of the things that I noticed is that they said that he can't be on the field. So then you have to ask yourself, that's essentially his job, though. So you're asking him, well, what is he doing if he's not there on game day? So,
God, if he gets fired, I mean, the guy's going to be a martyr in Philly. I mean,
he'll find a job right away. And that's the thing about security. Like, this guy is more than fine, right? He's got a Rolodex and a profile that if he's working for the NFL, he's going to fall on his feet, especially some sympathizers around there who don't think anything happened that he deserved to get fired. But security is unforgiving. It is. I've had guys that I've given chances to personally. I've had guys I've given chances to, and some of the things that they did teetered on the side of like liability issues, like, you're not doing your job. And it's come back to bite me. It really has. Like, it's cost me money. I've had security. I had a security firm for over 12 years. And at one point we had $1 million a year in insurance. And that insurance premium used to shoot through the goddamn roof every time I used to give somebody a break, So, I mean, liability wise, nah. What if he would have been, I keep saying the word liability. So let me explain. I
mean, if the 49ers, I mean, let's just say he poked Greenlaw in the eye and he got a detached retina or something like that.
Thank you.
Anything could happen.
What if he's a big guy, right? And these guys got on cleats with their soft toe shoes on top. What if he would have stepped on somebody, right, and broke a toe? What if he would have fell on somebody and hurt somebody? Not being funny, but anything could have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool story, bro. Computer security and physical security, both. So, for me, I don't look at what happened. I look at what could have happened. And that's why I would let him go, honestly.
Well, it seems harsh, but I'll defer to you on this. You know a whole lot more about this realm than I do. So I never like to see people lose their gigs. To me, it's bad karma. For me, if you notice one thing, I'll never do is I don't go to in sports or out of sports. I don't go to the fire them card very much because I've been fired, and especially during the holidays, it sucks and it's just really hard. So I'll never go there. But I'm not telling you how you should feel. I mean, you know more about this,
and
this
this
world
isn't
than
me
I do, this
wanting
realm
him
than
to
I
be
do.
fired.
Sure.
Yeah, this just so happens to fall within one of my wheelhouses. Like
Yeah,
I
totally.
do security,
Which is why I
in
wanted to
real
get
life.
your perspective on it.